Oh, are you joining me on the Wi-Fi?
Yep.
Okay. Morning. It's Monday. Come on, boy. Lay down. Should go. Hiya, Scott. Let's see who comes. I'm just going to pop it open this door for a minute while you're all getting in. There you go. Sorted. There's chaos in this house. 4 kids, they all get up at different times. And they all have no idea what time it is. How are you all doing? So I can see we've got Scott, we've got Rosie, we've got Leah, we've got Matt, Crew, Matt Hamilton. Who else is here today? Joan. Hi, Joan. It's Monday, start of a new week. Morning, Mavis. Morning, Mary. Yeah, we'll pray for Lee. Well, this week, just in case you missed the announcement on Sundays, this week is the start of a bit of a different timescale, but a different timetable, I should say. We're coming into its summer period. August, we always kind of take August off in a lot of ways. So the youth ministry kind of shuts down, and the kids ministry takes a break, and all stuff like that. So just recognising that it's that season. Joan's asking me, she thought I was away today. No, Joan, what I was saying yesterday was that our holiday starts on Saturday. So I was saying we won't see you for the next couple of Sundays, but we don't go away until Saturday. So yeah, we got 2 weeks away from Saturday. So you've got me and Leah this week, and you won't see us for another couple of weeks after that. Yeah, so the way things are going to work this week is that we're going to do devotions Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Friday. And then we've got testimony on Thursday in the morning instead. Just to try and make things a little bit less busy. We do want to keep doing testimony Thursdays because we find it's really, really important to demonstrate those testimonies and hear from people. And we'll probably get a few different faces involved with devotions in the morning, just while we're in the season where people are away. Obviously, the next couple of weeks we'll need some people to help cover myself and Leah, so it doesn't all just kind of fall on Andy and Terence. So yeah, so that's what's going to happen for the next few weeks. There's also no prayer meeting and no Bible school in the evening on Tuesday. And what we're going to start looking at definitely this week, and we'll probably keep doing it as we go on, is we're going to start reading through Proverbs. And Proverbs is an absolutely fantastic book. It's got 31 chapters, which means that you can, if you read a chapter a day, you can read it in a month easy. And I've kind of done that off and on for the last decade or something. I've always kind of either had the Psalms or had Proverbs on the go. I'm actually coming to the end of Psalms at the moment, so I'm glad that we're coming into Proverbs. And Proverbs is just an absolutely fantastic book in the Bible that's just absolutely full and rich of advice and help for life. And so we're going to take a chapter each day, and if you've never read Proverbs before, you won't know this. Just a bit of information that it's literally a collection of sayings of wisdom, and sometimes it doesn't kind of follow a set pattern. So it might be that there's just many different different bits of advice in there. So what we'll probably do is we'll read through a chapter at the beginning of the devotion, and then we'll pick out something that stands out to us. So if you've got your Bibles, let's turn to Proverbs 1, verse 1. It says, the Proverbs of Solomon, son of David, king of Israel. So the majority of the Proverbs are written by Solomon, who, as it says, is the son of King David. And Solomon was, if you know your Bible, he was the guy who took over from David. And God asked him, you can have anything you want. What do you want? Can you imagine being asked that by God? You can have anything you want. What do you want? And he asked for wisdom. And God said, because you asked for wisdom, I'm going to give you it. But I'm also going to give you all the other stuff that you could have asked for, but you didn't. Things like riches and all this stuff. And power. So it says that these Proverbs of Solomon, son of David, king of Israel, are for attaining wisdom and discipline, for understanding words of insight, for acquiring a disciplined and prudent life, for doing what is right and just and fair, for giving prudence to the simple, knowledge and discretion to the young. Let the wise listen and add to their learning. Let the discerning get guidance for understanding proverbs and parables, the sayings and riddles of the wise. So it's just literally at the start, just telling you what the whole point of this is for. You might not be a type of person who likes discipline. Not many people do, actually, to be fair. But there's some people out there who live a very disciplined life. You know, they always brush their teeth twice a day, and they get up at a certain time and make their bed, and they exercise regularly, and they eat very carefully. And there are other people in the world as well. And so if you're another person in the world, then don't think this is not for you. I think it's always good to add a bit more discipline to your life, a bit more prudence and understanding and wisdom. It's definitely for everyone. And it even goes on to say it's for the wise. If you're already wise, it says you can add to your learning. It's also for those who aren't wise, who it uses the word simple. Probably not a word we would use these days to describe somebody, but you know, for someone who hasn't got much wisdom, it's for them as well. In other words, you can always, however wise you are, you can always learn more. There's always more to understand. And then it says in verse 7, a really, really key verse throughout the whole of Proverbs. It says, to fear the Lord is the beginning of knowledge, but fools despise wisdom and discipline. The fear of the Lord is the beginning of knowledge. And that's throughout Proverbs. It's throughout the Bible, actually. It references about the fear of the Lord. And the fear of the Lord will lead to wisdom. So how can fear be something that leads to wisdom? Well, when the Bible talks about the fear of the Lord, it's not talking about being afraid of him. In fact, you'll have read other verses in the Bible that says, perfect love drives out all fear. Like the love of God in our life means that we don't have to fear like we would normally, because we can trust in him. But it's said the fear of the Lord, what does that mean? Well, it's actually talking about a reverence and a respect for God. And there's different levels of respect. You have respect for people generally. Most people have a basic level of respect. And I remember trying to have this conversation with kids, teenagers, when I used to work in schools, saying you need to show respect for the people. You can't treat people that way. And they're like, I don't have to show respect. Respect is earned. And yeah, respect is earned. There's different levels of respect, and there's an earned level of respect, but there's a basic level of respect where we show all people respect, and we treat people fairly. But what this is talking about is a real reverence and a real respect for God, like a deeper level of respect, to the point where you would rely on him, or you turn to him, you go to him for help or for guidance. It's that kind of thing. With maybe people in your life who you think, I need to talk through that person. It's that kind of respect, and it's almost like an awe as well, understanding that God is God. He's all powerful, and he is the source of all life. And understanding that is the beginning of wisdom. Knowing where to go is the beginning of wisdom. That's the important thing for us to listen to. It goes on to say some warnings. It says, listen, my son, to your father's instruction, and do not forsake your mother's teaching. Now, it's not necessarily talking about your actual mother and father in this context. What it's doing is it's trying to lay down a foundation of the relationship of the author to us, the readers. He's trying to say, look, think of me like this. I'm like a father come alongside you, or a mother come alongside you, who's lived a bit longer than you, who wants to just to pour into you the things that I've learned. It's a relationship, even though they're here to teach us. It's meant to be a loving relationship. We're saying, hey, let me show you something. Let me help you. It says, there will be a garland of grace to grace your head and a chain to adorn your neck. My son, if sinners entice you, do not give in to them. If they say, come along with us, let's lie in wait for someone's blood, let's waylay some harmless soul, let's swallow them alive like the grave and whole, like those who go down to the pit. We will get all sorts of valuable things and fill our houses with plunder. Throw in your lot with us, and we will share a common purse. My son, do not go along with them. Do not set foot on their paths, for their feet rush into sin, and they are swift to shed blood. How useless to spread a net in full view of the birds. These men lay in wait for their own blood. They waylay only themselves. Such is the end of all who go after ill-gotten gains. It takes away the lives of those who gets it. So this is talking about people who are putting their faith in their actions, in their sin. The people, it's specifically talking about people who would like try and rob someone or do something wrong. Bear in mind, this is Solomon talking, who was the person who asked God for wisdom, and God said, okay, because you wanted wisdom, I'll give you all the riches and power that you want. He's saying here, people go after riches and power. You know, they might go about it in ways that seems clever and devious to them, but it's not how it works out. And it comes from a real sense of the Israelites at this stage in the history, weren't necessarily thinking about eternal life. They were thinking that, if they live a good life on earth, they will get good things. That's how they thought. And that's how, probably all of us start off thinking that way. I know I did when I was younger. I always used to think that if I did something bad, then something bad would happen to me. I guess it's like karma. Not that that's part of our religion. But, I used to think God was kind of up there saying, right, you know what, Luke? If you behave good, then you'll get good things. And if you behave bad, you get bad things. Almost like an instant punishment. And the Israelites thought very much like this point in history. So he's basically saying, if you live a life where you do bad things, then bad things will happen to you. You'll lay a trap for yourself. It says you're spreading a net in full view of the birds. And in those days, they would use nets to catch birds. And so, yeah, he's basically saying, you're putting your net out, and it's obvious for the birds are going to see it, and they're not going to be caught by it because, it's in plain sight for everybody to see. So saying, don't think that way. Instead, have respect and have the fear of the Lord at the heart of everything you do. And if you respect and revere God, that's where you get true wisdom, and you get everything else. God, all these other things, God will add to you. Verse 20 says, wisdom calls aloud in the street. She raises her voice in the public squares. At the head of the noisy streets, she cries out. In the gateways of the city, she makes her speech. How long will you simple ones love your simple ways? How long will mockers delight in mockery and fools hate knowledge? If you had responded to my rebuke, I would have poured out my heart to you and made my thoughts known to you. But since you rejected me when I called, and no one gave heed when I stretched out my hand, since you ignored all my advice and would not accept my rebuke, I in turn will laugh at your disaster. I will mock when calamity overtakes you, when calamity overtakes you like a storm, when disaster sweeps over you like a whirlwind, when distress and trouble overwhelms you. Then they will call to me, but I will not answer. They will look to me, but will not find me. Since they hated knowledge and did not choose to fear the Lord, since they would not accept my advice and spurn my rebuke, they will eat the fruit of their ways and be filled with the fruit of their schemes. For the waywardness of the simple will kill them, and the complacency of fools will destroy them. So in other words, what he's saying is that wisdom is calling out. It's there for all of us to have if we want it. But if we choose not to have it, you can't kind of go back in time. You've got to listen to instruction now and put it into practice, because, if you decide to live a different life, and put your faith in other things and put your trust in other things, then disaster will come upon you. Saying you can't go back. You can't say, okay, I'll listen now, because the moment's passed. You've missed your opportunity to put these things into practice to prevent some of these things that would happen to you. And it's a bit of an odd kind of thing to be talking to you about this morning, because we've been talking a lot about grace and how God's got grace for us and how we ask for forgiveness. It's not really talking about that. It's not talking about God's grace for us. It's not saying that God's going to sit and laugh at us when we do things wrong. It's not really talking about God. It's just trying to use a metaphor to illustrate how we need to listen to wisdom now, get wisdom in us now that will set us up for the future. We can't just kind of hope one day that when life goes takes a bad turn, that we can turn around and go, okay, God, I'll listen now. It's saying, no, put it into practice now, learn it now while life isn't bad, and when the storms come, you'll know what to do, you'll know where to put your trust. I think we'll leave it at that, since Bernie's come to interrupt. All right, enjoy the rest of your day. Leah will pick up tomorrow with Proverbs 2, and hopefully we'll these next lot of devotions we'll get a lot from. And I absolutely love reading Proverbs, and I'm sure you're going to enjoy reading it with us too. All right, so we'll see you soon. Have a great rest of your day. Bye.